everybody, Mike Pfeiffer with Pfeiffer Hobby Supply. Today we're going to do update 19 on the ACT3, and today I got out here, cleaned up a little bit, and I'm running a train for a change, and I'll show you what I've been up to. Okay gang, I know I said I cleaned up today, but there's still a mess on the table, but the floor is clean, and I picked up a lot of stuff off the table. No new scenery work still, but I thought we'd just pan this train around. I've been running quite a few trains here lately, and knock on Masonite, I haven't had any trains derail inside the tunnel over there. In this picture, by the way, you can see that piece of shaper sheet back there. I was thinking of trying to use the shaper sheet to make a mountain out of. I don't like the way it looks. I don't like the way it forms. I think it's too big. So I've got a couple of instant horizon backdrops here, and I'm going to try and put something in there. Whether I mount it on a piece of Masonite or what, I'm not sure yet. But I'm going to see how I can make that work. Okay gang, so here's the new addition. I've got this in, and I've got the sensors in. And possibly you saw the video on doing some detail painting to it. Kind of creep in here a little bit. You can see that I have done a little detailing to it. I think it looks okay for right now. Now let's go take a look at what I'm doing leading into this crossing gate. Okay, if we come down here, you'll see that I've got a ACT train sitting here, and it goes all the way back there. I don't know how many cars that is. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 in a locomotive. But I wanted enough room that I could run a train into this siding right over here and stop it down in here somewhere, get it off the main line, but not trip the new crossing gate. So I'll show you where we're at with that. Okay, so I had a sensor right here, right? You can see the little piece right there in front of the locomotive. There wasn't enough room to get a siding length train in here and get it off the main line waiting to come into the town. So what I did is I took the sensor right there out and moved it right there. And what that allows me to do now is, I'm sorry, I moved it right here. I know that says sensor on it, but that's just a piece of track. But anyway, the sensor's right here, just off of what will be the bridge there. And what that allows me to do, and I just set it off, but nevertheless, what that'll allow me to do is get a train all the way down to this point. So you can see that gives me about 6 or 7 or 8 more car lengths to get a train down before I trip the crossing gate. I also have about 2 cars at the end of the train that's sitting there. So that would be 14 cars, and I could at least get 16 cars and an ABA set in there. And that's the idea, is to bring it in, not trip the crossing gate, but be able to leave the train sit there if I am making arrangements in the yard to bring a train into the yard. So now let's go down, take a look at the gate in action. Okay, as I said, the sensor is way over there. So let's bring that train in very slowly and see what we get here. Now the train has passed the last sensor on the gate. It's coming down into the yard, and you can see the caboose just passed over the last sensor right there. And the train is obviously heading into the yard. If I stop the train and I reverse the train, the train hits the sensor, the gates have gone down, and the train is on its way out. Or if we're switching in the yard, you may be backing some cars out or pulling some cars out or something of that nature. And we're going to let it get past the sensor over under the bridge, as if it were going out. In other words, if the locomotive was now the caboose of that train, the caboose could actually be stopped right about there without triggering anything. Now I'm going to bring you back and show you where my sensors are coming into the yard here, and we'll discuss that just a little bit. Okay, so you know where the sensor is over there in front of the locomotive. We ran the train in, we've gone across the sensor there, and if I swing around here, we came down this track right here beyond this sensor here. On the next track over, there's a sensor in the identical spot. The branch line actually goes down that direction on that track. This is a siding. But if I come way back here, I had to put the sensor on that track. The only straight track I had was right here after this turnout, which doesn't give us much room between here and here. So the regulatory situation on my railroad is that it's going to be 5 to 10 mile an hour branch line in here, and if the train is coming out, you will have to go to a slow board until you cross that sensor and make sure that your gates are going down so that you don't interfere with traffic. So that's the 3 sensors that are on the 3 tracks that go into the yard. Now let's discuss this far track over here. When you multiple these two, the first through line, and you put an additional line on there, these sensors are under the impression that you have 2 main lines, not a siding. So if I came in and I ran into this siding and crossed these 2 sensors back here, it would not turn the gate off, because it's waiting for a response from a sensor beyond this sensor back here. Obviously I don't have any straight track here. So once again, the operational mandate on my layout is that the locomotive is allowed to approach and has to stop at the gate and trigger the gate, and the gate has to go down before it's able to push its cars into or pick up cars from that siding. And the same thing is true when the train's coming out if the gate's not already down. Whatever this siding here winds up to be, this siding here, it may go way on back here. I don't know, because I don't know what industry's going to be there. But whatever it is, when you're coming out of there, if you've gone already all the way in and the gates have gone down and have gone back up, you must go very slow and stop here at the sensor. Well, you've got to go to this sensor to get the gate to open. So what I'm trying to impress on you here is that I think I could probably do it by multipling, and I will show you what I mean by that. I could multiple the sensor down there and take it into the far extension and get it to work that way. But the siding is so short and the sensors are so close that I would do it just like the real railroads do it. They would drop a switchman back here in normal operation. That switchman would walk ahead of the train up to the gate, watch for traffic until this gate was signaled and down, and then he would board the train and they would cross this crossing. At least that's how it works here in Las Cruces on our local train. So on my railroad, that'll be the rule. Now, I guess what I can show you is what I mean about multipling, if that is a word, these sensors. Okay, we're going to start back up here, because what I want to tell you is on the bottom of, if any of you are familiar with this or seen any pictures of the bottoms of these crossing gates, you have two plugs coming into one side and you have two plugs going out the other side, which determines the way they sequence. When the train comes in this way, it'll when the last car passes this one, it'll go off. If you're coming the other way and have passed the next sensor to the camera's left, your left, the train would come across, set off this sensor here, and go off at the other sensor. That's how it's set up to work. And since you can't bridge on the other track over there, that track would do us the same thing with whatever sensors it had tied to it. But my problem was, if I turn back around here, slowly, try to, as you can see, I have 1, 2, 3 tracks here that all converge together into one side of the crossing gate, which means that I have 3 incoming sensors from the left-hand side here coming into this crossing gate. And so I have verified something, but I'll take you under the board and show you what that is and show you how it worked. Okay, if I get underneath here, you can see the track that's closest out to the edge, which is on the left. Each one of those only has 4 ports. And you can see, possibly, that my incoming on the top of the screen is in 1 port, and then I have 2 ports occupied on the going away side. Not sure if you can see that because I'm having a hard time seeing the screen. But nevertheless, as you can see here, right here, I have 3 sensor wires coming down to be plugged into 2 ports. When I got down to this point right here, and I haven't finalized this yet, I have 2 sensors, cut the wire, tied the 2 incoming sensors together to 1 wire going up to the remaining plug up there. That allows me to work the 3 sensors beyond the crossing gate on its proper side of the crossing gate. I hope that makes sense. What I'm saying is, and basically all I'm saying is, you can tie at least one, we know, because I'm doing it, you can tie at least one multiple sensor onto that wire signaling that one slot. So I'm assuming if I had another one, I could attach onto that wire and I could go to the other slot. And I'm not sure how many sensors you could get away with on here. But since only one sensor works at a time, I'm assuming that it would really be unlimited as to how many you could put on one wire. I don't know that to be a fact, but I'm telling you that this works. Okay, gang, aside from that, I don't know what else I have to tell you. I think I'll take you up on the board and show you one other thing that I've done recently, and I think my next project is maybe cut the template for the lake, but we'll worry about that another time. But let me show you what else I've done. It's just a minor thing, but it helps. Okay, if we look across right here, you can see that I finally had to break down and put in some popsicle sticks with the turnout numbers on them. I couldn't myself remember what turnouts operated what sidings. This turnout right here and the one at the opposite end of this siding work in conjunction on number 1. That's the far end this way of that particular siding back there, which is number 2. The other end is way down, well, it's actually way down there. That one is number 6 going into the coal mine, or what will be the coal or unobtainium mine. But anyway, you get the idea. As you can see, these sticks are full-size popsicle sticks this time, simply because they're way further away than my sticks were on the other one, which were coffee stir sticks. They were much smaller. And I know these are obtrusive, and I know they're big. But you know, everybody can see them from the outside of the layout. And that's really the concern if you're going to operate any layout. I guess you could be a stickler for every detail, but functionality, there's something to be said for functionality as well. So anyway, here's some sticks marking these. Obviously well, not obviously, but number 5 back there works that reversing loop. And number 3 up here, number 4 up here works this reversing loop. Number 4 works the outside siding here, which would take us down this outside loop, which is actually inside here, past this train and on down, and like the train down that you saw earlier is running down right now. So anyway, and I've got those marked back there. I don't have a stick on that far one back there because I didn't paint enough sticks, but that turnout back there I believe is number 8 or number 9. I think it's number 8. You can see that I have this turnout coming off the main here. Only the turnouts on the main line are going to be marked in such a manner. As you guys have seen in the previous video, all the other switching is going to be done from the push buttons that are relevant to where the turnout that they're in front of. So gang, I'm trying to swing around here and take a peek real quick. I think that's about it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Well everybody, I hope you enjoyed update 19, and as usual, thanks for watching.